Ladies and gentlemen, welcome back to the Players Only YouTube channel for Premier League predictions match week 31. It's a double match week, but we've got weekend Premier League football back, and I'm very, very happy about that. Some massive games that come from the weekend's action. Everton and Arsenal get us kicked off with the early kickoff on Saturday. We've got the Manchester derby in there as well, and Spurs have to bounce back this weekend after a few very, very disappointing results. So a lot to come from the weekend. Obviously, we got the most strange derby in there as well. Crystal Palace host Brighton, which is actually a rivalry, a bit of a derby there as well. So a lot to be excited for this weekend. A lot of great action throughout the Premier League. Looking back to midweek and how I went in terms of my predictions, not too bad to be honest. I'm very close to a few perfect predictions in there as well. We came to the week on 193 points, added 8 of our prediction points to take us to 201 now after 30 match weeks. 8 match weeks to go, looking to add 49 more points to get to our 250 total, which we set out at the start of this year. And I think we're just about in range, and I think we will get it come season's end. If you're new to the channel, all this way at the end of the season, you're wondering how the predictions work. 3 points correct scoreline, 1 point for the correct result predicted, and 0 for neither. And we set the goal out for 250 come the start of the season, and we're very, very close to achieving that. So with that being said, ladies and gents, let's jump straight into these predictions and get match week 31 underway. The early Saturday kickoff is Everton hosting Arsenal. This is the one I'll be live for and doing a watch song for, because this is going to be a very, very entertaining game, I think. Everton obviously coming off the back of that hard-fought, difficult 1-0 loss at Anfield. Yet again, that pragmatic style of football that David Moyes is employing. It's been successful so far until the weekend. It's now no clean sheet, however, in the last 8 games. 4 draws and 1 loss in their last 5 games. They've been getting results. Finally, though, that came to an end with that loss versus Liverpool. I think against an Arsenal side that's trying to go forward, trying to make chances, trying to create goals and opportunities, similar to Liverpool, this whole pragmatic defensive system, it comes undone a little bit, especially when you're conceding in most of these games. No clean sheet in 8 games. It sort of takes away from that pragmatic style of football. So look to Everton to be a little bit more front-footed in this game here. Arsenal not as intimidating as Liverpool, especially with a big injury to Gabriel at the back. A bit more vulnerable in midfield areas. I think Everton will take the game to this Arsenal side. Obviously, looking at their key players, massive game required from that back forward there to sit in deep and absorb the pressure and play that pragmatic style of football. They are the backbone of this system, especially O'Brien at right back, likely to have a lot of attention with constant wing play from the likes of Martinelli, potentially as well when they double up on that left-hand side there, with Martin Odegaard dropping into a wide space. And then obviously Vitaly Mykolenko as left back. Massive, massive job to shut down Bukayo Saka. I think he'll start in this game here and probably come off around the hour mark. So massive job for Mykolenko to keep Bukayo Saka quiet in this game here, because if he gets going, Arsenal getting control of this game and probably win it quite easily. Obviously, massive roles as well in the middle of the park for Idrissa Gana Gueye, as well as James Garner to protect that back four. And to be honest, when they have the ball, make the most of that possession, because Everton in the last few weeks have been a bit wasteful in the ball, but these two guys are so pivotal to their possession, their attacking football, and how they can play in transition. So massive games required from those two midfielders. Looking at Arsenal, 2-1 win versus Fulham last time out. Bit of a roll now for Arsenal. A few good results back to back. 13 goals in the last 5 games. Remain the second best team away from home. Only 2 losses on the road this season. It's another massive chance here for Arsenal to continue to put pressure on Liverpool and continue to build that winning mentality. If it's not there already, finish your season off on a high. Even if you don't win the Premier League or don't get within a certain amount of points, finish in the right manner, which means competing right to the end. I think in this game here, Mikel Merino has been the source of goals. He hasn't been pivotal yet again. Can he get in the score sheet again? Can he get Arsenal off to a flying start? And then obviously the star boy, Bukayo Saka. I expect him to start. As I said, probably 55, 60 minutes, then get substituted off. He was massive in the game midweek to get that, I guess, crucial, pivotal goal to make it 2-0. Looked at him yet again to be able to break down this Everton low block and get Arsenal going in the right direction. I think it's going to be a real cagey game. Everton make games cagey. They make them close. I think Arsenal will find a way in the end to get over the line. Gone with a 2-1 result here. Don't get me wrong, Everton will be dangerous in the break and in transition, especially with Gabriel out. But the talent of Mikel Merino, Odegaard, Rice, Saka being back will be too much for Everton to handle. We move to Selhurst Park for Crystal Palace versus Brighton and Hove Albion. one of the great rivalries in Premier League football. I still don't know how this rivalry exists, but it is a derby, it is a rivalry, so a massive game nonetheless. You're looking at Palace, they've been really good in recent weeks, but they came up short versus Southampton in a 1-1 draw. Probably their worst performance come January in all regards. Quite slow, not at the races of their attacking football. I think they'll be back to their best here in this game here. They're still unbeaten in the last 6 games, only conceded 3 goals in that time. So it shows defensively that they've been switched on that area of the park. Maxime Lacroix, Mark Gahey, Chris Richards, fantastic as a back 3. Then you got those 2 wing backs that get up and down the pitch, and Munoz and Tarek Mitchell as well. So much talent there. But for me in this game, if they want to be better than what they were versus Southampton, I look to the midfield area. Jefferson Lerma, Adam Wharton were just a little bit off it versus Southampton, and these guys have the ability to insert energy into that Crystal Palace side. Smarts in possession, playing the right passes, pressing high up the pitch, and keeping opposition's pen back. So these two have a massive role here to shut down Brighton's possession style of football, and then once they win the ball, to get the ball moving forward for Crystal Palace with much increased pace and much increased ferocity as well. It was a little bit slow versus Southampton, and that really showed due to that midfield not being at the races for me. Looking at Brighton, they were dominated 3-0 by Aston Villa last time out. They need to bounce back. It's been a real good start of the year for them, but that was a real massive setback last time out. That loss brought to an end a great run of Premier League results. It's now without a win in the last 3 games though, across FA Cup, Premier League, and 2 Premier League results there. They need to really bounce back because, like I said, they had a great start to the new year, but the last few weeks have been a bit of a struggle for them. They haven't scored a goal in their last 2 games. It's all about attacking football. And with that being said, I think it comes from the wide space. I often mention Mitoma, Adingra, Minte, but I think Estupiñán and Hinchel would have massive roles in this game here. I touched on how Munoz and Tarek Mitchell have to get up the pitch and be those supports in wide spaces in transitional play. Hinchwood and Estupiñán have to stop that. They have to limit the wide space creation for Crystal Palace. It'll also be a threat going forward themselves. Create overloads, create double ups in wide spaces to get the ball into wide areas, because that's when Brighton play their best. A lot of possession, but they don't often do enough with it. I think that when they play with width and they play with a little bit more pace, good things happen for Brighton. So look to those 2 fullbacks to be the key players in this game for me. How do I see this result going? I think Brighton get back to winning ways. I think they get a massive result here away from home. Again, not a high-scoring game with how good Crystal Palace are defensively and how Brighton have struggled in front of goal, but I've gone with a Brighton 2-1 win this game here. They get back on track, hurts the side, regain that attacking belief, and they scored 2 in this game here. We're at Portman Road for Ipswich and Wolves in our next game here. Battle of 2 bottom 5 sides in many regards. Ipswich off the back of a fantastic 2-1 win away at Bournemouth last time out. Once again, goals don't seem to be the problem. 7 goals in their last 5 games. They've scored 2 away at Bournemouth, where many big teams have struggled this season. So that doesn't seem to be the problem. But defensively, they need to be really rock solid if they want to get results. A similar performance from O'Shea and Palmer and net is what we expect in this game here if they want to be competitive and if they want to get potentially all 3 points. They were fantastic versus Bournemouth. Look to those to be pivotal yet again defensively versus Wolves side. As well going forward, obviously Delap's been an absolute menace in front of goal, but Julio Enciso was fantastic last time out in terms of his chance creation, smarts on the ball, and be able to play that ball in behind. He's a real spark in the final third. He's a real creative player, a flair player that takes the game on. He has to be central to their attacking football yet again if they want to get a positive result here at home versus Wolves, who were very good last time out. A 1-0 win at home versus West Ham. A little unbeaten streak put together by Wolves now. 2 wins and 2 draws in their last 4 games. It's a real good run for them. I think a very similar blueprint yet again though in this game versus Ipswich. Defensively, be switched on. I think that back 3 have been fantastic. Agbadou, Totti, Doherty, fantastic as a back 3 since they've been introduced together come January. Then a clinical striking performance from Strand Larson yet again. They are really the keys for Wolves. Finishing their chances in front of goal and keeping clean sheets defensively. It seems very bland and simplistic, I know, but when Wolves weren't playing well, they were missing a lot of opportunities and they weren't keeping enough clean sheets or denying teams scoring opportunities. But come the new year, this 3 back have been fantastic. Strand Larson, we know he's a real clinical finisher when he's switched on. When that happens, good things happen. So look to those two ends of the park for Wolves to be important in this game here versus Ipswich. I think Wolves continue their great run of form. I've got a 2-0 win here at Portman Road occurring. Ipswich are great, but they don't often put together consistent amount performances week on week, and I just don't see them continuing that versus Wolves side. Our next game is at the London Stadium as West Ham play host to Bournemouth, two teams looking to bounce back. West Ham really lacklustre last time out away at Wolves, and that 1-0 loss there. They continue to struggle in front of goal. They've 6 goals scored in their last 8 games, coinciding with only 2 wins in that time. Pretty clearly the correlation is a lack of goals, a lack of chance creation, a lack of clinical edge in the final third. And I think they'll be desperate for more from Lucas Paquetá. Too inconsistent. The performance is the best to worst. It's too variable. It's not good enough for a Premier League level player. And then Jared Bowen. A lot of pressure falls onto him, but they're going to have to fall on him and look to him yet again because he's the only one creating things, making things tick and happen in the final third there. So they'll be relying on him to make things happen for them because there hasn't been much support outside of Jared Bowen this season. He's going to have to be magical yet again here at the London Stadium if West Ham want to get firing here. Bournemouth, they continue their downward slide as well. A 2-1 loss at home to Ipswich midweek. It's now 3 consecutive losses in a row. No win in their last 5 Premier League games. They've totally slipped out of the European contention and smack bang into their own sort of realm in 5th place right now. For me, it's been decent football, but just, again, similar to West Ham, no product in the final third. Dango Ouattara has slowed down since he's moved back out to the wide space. And for me, Antoine Semenyo's been good without that final clinical end product. I think he has to be back at his best in this game here. We haven't seen the best of him since probably December, November time. And I think that's been coinciding with Bournemouth's lack of goals and their reduction in performances. He has to be much better. Dango Ouattara has to be much better. And then they keep feeding Evan Nilsson, who's desperate for opportunity to score in front of goal. For me, 2 sides that are out of form, 2 sides that don't have many goals in them. I've gone with a draw. 1-1 draw between these 2 sides here. West Ham may start the better side at home, but Bournemouth and their ability on the ball and their ability to play better football, they'll grow into the game and eventually find the equaliser for me. In what could prove to be the game of the weekend, Aston Villa play host to Nottingham Forest. 2 sides in fantastic form right now. Villa coming off the back of that 3-0 demolition job at Brighton last time. That's now 6 wins in a row for Villa. 15 goals scored and 5 clean sheets in their last 6 games. It has been a superb turnaround, and I was starting to lose faith in Unai Emery and his side in league and domestic football. We love what they're doing in the FA Cup. We love what they're doing in the Champions League. We love their cup competition form, but they hadn't put together consistent performances in the Premier League. Now we're seeing 2 or 3 great runs of games in a row in the Premier League, coinciding with Champions League and FA Cup performances, and the belief is reinstalled and reinstated in this side yet again. And Marcus Rashford pivotal to this. Again, another great performance midweek. He's continued to have goals in his game. The link up with Morgan Rogers in the final third is looking like how Ollie Watkins and Morgan Rogers were linking up last season. It's become a little bit more fluid in the final third. Marco Asensio's inserted a lot more coolness and calmness and composure on the ball, and chance creation is coming much easier now for this Aston Villa side. All in all, those 3 as the front 3 are going to be so important yet again to break down such a resilient and robust Nottingham Forest backline. Looking at Forest, they were fantastic in their 1-0 defensively orientated win versus Manchester United. It's now 3 Premier League wins in a row, 3 clean sheets in their last 5 games. They continue to be the best defensive side in the Premier League with 13 clean sheets, tied with Liverpool this season. So they continue to fire, and once again, it's going to be on the back of Milinkovic and Murillo at the back, the 2 centre-halves, who are going to be the core figures in this game here for Nottingham Forest. They're built in transition. They're built off having little possession. The smallest in the Premier League. They're averaging around 39% possession, Nottingham Forest, this season. But with the least amount of possession, they're sitting in 3rd place and quite comfortably 3rd in the Premier League. They did it versus Man United. They've done it versus the big teams. They sit in deep. They absorb pressure. They hit you on the break. Those 2 centre-halves are going to be pivotal to that style of football yet again. And then obviously going forward, Ante Alanga, the hero, versus United. Morgan Gibbs-White, so good in transition, playing the passes between the lines. And then Callum Hudson-Odoi, if he's available, such a clinical finish in the final third. Those 3 make it happen in the final third. Great things happen for Nottingham Forest. It's going to be a tough game to call. Forest don't concede. Villa don't like to concede in recent weeks, but I am going to back in the home side here. I've gone with the Villa 3-1 win. I think they're just in too much great form right now. They've got so much depth. And when Villa Park is just bouncing and his belief, there's not many teams that can go there and get a positive result. So I'm backing Villa in here, 3-1 versus Nottingham Forest, and to continue their great run of form. Right, the G-Tech for Brentford and Chelsea. Obviously, Brentford coming off a very unfortunate 2-1 loss away at Newcastle during midweek. They were really, really competitive in that game. They really took it to Newcastle and made it a bit of a scrap, which is what we know Brentford are known for, making games competitive, making them combative. And I expect them to do a very similar thing here versus Chelsea. Yes, it's been a bit of a mixed bag in their last 5 games. 2 wins, a draw, and 2 losses in those 5 games. But I think if they want to be successful here versus Chelsea, similar to how they were very competitive versus Newcastle United, it comes from their defensive identity. Pinnock and Collins, the 2 centre-halves, be compact, limit spacing behind for Jackson, Neto, Sancho, and Co to operate into. And then allow those midfielders, Norgard and Yount, to really be tight onto the likes of Enzo Fernandez, Moises Caicedo, Cole Palmer. Because if that happens, then you take away what Chelsea's strengths are, speed in behind, and those 2 superstars in midfield, and then you've got a real tight game on your hands. We know Chelsea can capitulate. So if they can do that and build up a defensive IQ, Brentford will go a long way to making this game very, very competitive and very, very close. Looking at Chelsea, over the line, 1-0 versus Spurs in a really frenetic, frantic type game. Now 5 goals scored in their last 5 games, coinciding with 3 1-0 wins in that time there as well. So the turnaround in form hasn't been drastic, especially in terms of attacking football, but defensively they've really switched on, which is a great sign to see. And yes, they'll be important yet again, but against a bit of a more pragmatic system, which Brentford will employ. Enzo Fernandez, Cole Palmer yet again. You look into the 2 superstars. Can they take this game by the scruff of the neck like they did versus Spurs? Can they make that magic moment happen? And can they bring this Chelsea side over the line yet again in a bit of a nail-biter? They are literally the key player in this game here. How those 2 Chelsea stars play is indicative of how the result will go. If they're central to things, if they're making things happen, if they're on the ball more often than not, if one of them are involved in a goal, Chelsea win it. If they're quiet, if they're forced out of the game by Brentford's defensive identity and defensive structure, then Brentford get a result, a win or a draw. It's so indicative of those 2's involvement is how this game will play out. If Cole Palmer and Enzo Fernandez are involved, Chelsea get the win. I don't think they will be as heavily involved though. That's why I've gone with a draw. A 1-1 ugly draw, classic Brentford at home, make it a scrap, get over the line and get a point. And that's how I see this game planning out. We're at Craven Cottage for Fulham and Liverpool. Fulham obviously off the back of that 2-1 disappointing result away at the Emirates to Arsenal. A few disappointing results now back-to-back. Only 2 wins in their last 5 Premier League games. They continue to struggle versus the top half sides. They tend to bully the bottom half sides. Really just indicative of where they are this season. They haven't really put together an extended run of form. And I think, once again, the core of this Fulham side will be really, really important. Sasa Lukic and Sander Berge. They've been really, really competitive in terms of possession battles and midfield battles in recent weeks. So they'll have to be important yet again to match the intensity which are brought by Liverpool and their midfielders. But I think more importantly for me is Emile Smith-Rowe. Someone who's really gone under the radar as a really underwhelming, underperforming player this season. Hasn't really found the heights, hasn't really found that attacking output and that spark in the final third. It's been Adama Traore, Alex Iwobi, Andres Pereira and others making it happen in the final third. But I think it's a real massive game here for Emile Smith-Rowe trying to make something happen. Liverpool's backline is one of the best in the world, if not the best in the world at times this season. And it looks very, very hard to penetrate. But a player like Emile Smith-Rowe can make things happen, can break apart a backline at Liverpool and get Fulham on the front foot. Because this is a desperately important result for this team here. Even a point, just to get them back on track and keep that European hope alive. But if they lose again here, you feel like that European hope is just dwindling away for this Fulham side. I look at Liverpool, a 1-0 win at home versus Everton last time out. It's 4 consecutive Premier League wins, 13 clean sheets on the season in total, making them one of the best defensive teams alongside Nottingham Forest. I think very similar performance like to Luis Diaz, with his relentless running in behind. His pressure of the back line will be important yet again, with Fulham being exposed often in wide spaces this season, with how Anthony Robertson and Timothy Castagna often leave themselves very vulnerable by committing numbers forward up the pitch. So look to Luis Diaz to be so important, and then Mohamed Salah to come back to his best form, which we haven't seen across the last 3 or 4 games of Liverpool. Those 2 wide players are important if they want to get the result here. Then they will get the result in a real ugly, scrappy affair. Both teams not at their best. Both teams not really clinical enough in front of goal right now, leading to me seeing Liverpool winning this game 1-0 in a real scrappy old Sunday game. Spurs play host to Southampton in our next Sunday game here. Spurs coming off the back of that really disappointing 1-0 loss away at Chelsea. They were competitive at times, but just once again, lacklustre and really couldn't find a way to get over the line or look really dangerous in the final third. It's now only one Premier League win in their last 5 games, 3 losses in their last 5 games across all competitions. A real mixed bag for them. It feels like there's a divide between the fans and the players, the fans and the manager. It's all sort of bubbling and boiling over here at Tottenham, and they need you to win this game. If they do not win this somehow, that could be curtains on Ange Postecoglou and probably curtains on Tottenham's season. I don't think you can bounce back from a disappointing result if they drop points here at Southampton. For me, I look to the midfield area. Bergvall and Bentancur, so important in this game here. They give grit, they give structure, determination, and fight to this Tottenham side, which often look like they really lack. And it frees up the likes of James Maddison and Heung-min Son to be those pure creators, out-and-out attacking players. So I look to those two in midfield to be those gritty, determined players to free up other players around them. You look at Southampton, 1-1 result, probably one of their better performances across the 90 minutes last time out versus Crystal Palace. Once again, really underwhelming for them this season, but it's the first point they've picked up in their last 7 games. So I guess that's a positive for the Southampton side. As I said last time out, they come to games here looking to play for contracts elsewhere. And I think creators like Fernandes, Sulemana, Tyler Dibling in the final third there, they're going to be the key players. Tottenham are vulnerable defensively. Take the game to Tottenham. Start quick. Make things happen, commit numbers forward, and you can potentially nick a 1-goal lead. Something to hold on to in this game here, similar to how they played versus Crystal Palace. I think they have backs against the wall though, because Spurs have to bounce back. They're a really aggressive attacking side, and I just don't think this Southampton backline can hold up. I've gone with the Spurs 3-1 win here. I think Southampton will nick a goal here and there at some point in this game, but Spurs' relentlessness going forward and need to bounce back means they get all 3 points here in this game for me. That now brings us to our penultimate game, which is the Manchester derby. Manchester United play host to Manchester City in a massive game for both these clubs' seasons. Man United, a 1-0 loss last time out at the City ground versus Nottingham Forest. But all in all, one of the more together and complete performances for Manchester United. But once again, missing the end product in the final third. You see the progress though. 9 goals scored, 4 conceded in the last 5 games for Manchester United. Things are happening. But again, you just need to see more creation in the final third. I'm looking at Joshua Zirkzee. I'm looking at Alejandro Garnacho. You need to stand up. You need to be more clinical. You need to make things happen in the final third. Look connected, look together, and be, I guess, more competitive over 90 minutes. These attacking players for Manchester United look really competitive for periods of the game, but inconsistently at the races and inconsistently putting backlines under pressure. These 2 young players, they have to have a future at this club if they can improve. But if they're not improving, they continue to be wasteful, continue to fade out of games like they did versus Nottingham Forest. United aren't going anywhere, and neither are these players. So massive gains required from them, and massive gains required from Manu Ugarte and Casemiro in the centre of the park to protect that back four. But then when United get possession, don't be wasteful with it. Keep possession, make things happen, and put pressure on the City back line, which is not so strong themselves. You look at City, they're dominant in a 2-0 win versus Leicester City at home last time out. But again, it's Leicester City. We can't really take that with much credibility at all because Leicester is so poor this season. It's only 2 wins in the last 5 games of Man City. The first clean sheet they've kept in their last 5 games. So you know where the shortcomings are defensively for Man City, where the shortcomings for Manchester United attacking-wise this season. So you've got a battle of fire and ice. Poor defence versus poor attack. Something's going to happen. Something's going to give way in this game here. For me, looking at Man City, their star players, Savinho and Marmoush. Pretty simply put, United look at their most vulnerable in transition when players play with pace. Just look to last summer. Ante Alanga ran through the whole United side in one quick breakaway. The pace of Savinho, the pace of Marmoush could be enough to tear this United side apart. And I think it will simply be one action, one movement that could separate these 2 sides in this game here. It was a similar sort of game last time out at the Etihad. Amad Diallo's brilliance separated the 2 sides. I feel like it'll be Omar Marmoush's brilliance that will separate the 2 sides in this game here at Old Trafford, because I'm backing Man City in to get the win here. A 2-1 victory for Man City. United will try, but yet again, the lack of talent and clinical edge in the final third will hurt them, while City, in the back of Marmoush, Grealish, and Savinho, will get over the line with their clinical edge in the final third. City 2, United 1 for me, and City take the bragging rights and the spoils in this Manchester derby. Our final game of the weekend sees Leicester play host to Newcastle United. Leicester beaten 2-0 at the Etihad by Man City. Their awful run continues, not scoring a goal in 6 games. No wins in their last 8 games. It's pretty bleak. Probably the worst side right now in the Premier League, and I can't really see them laying a glove on Newcastle United in this game here. They got a massive 3 points last time out versus Brentford, a 2-1 win here. 3 consecutive wins across different competitions, which is a fantastic sign to see for Newcastle United. Probably their best set of performances across the season. It's a sign of a bit of continuity, a bit of consistency. That's a good sign for them coming into the end of the season as they make that push for Champions League football. For me, once again, it'll be down to that ever dangerous, ever energetic, and ever clinical front 3 to make the difference here. Jacob Murphy, Harvey Barnes, Alexander Isak, they'll cause all sorts of problems for a very vulnerable Leicester City backline. Many teams have gone and scored many goals versus Leicester City, and I don't see any different for this dangerous Newcastle front 3. For me, I think they smashed 3 goals past Leicester City. 3 goals to nil. Newcastle United win here for me. 3 points, 3 goals, and Leicester City yet again failing to score in this game for me. With that being said, ladies and gents, that brings our prediction video to an end for match week 31. Let me know your thoughts in the comment section down below. What's your game of the weekend? Who are some of your key players of the weekend? And what are some of your predictions to come from the weekend's action? I hope you enjoyed the video, guys. If you did, please smash a like on it. Subscribe to the Players Zone channel for videos and content coming on the channel. Bit of a rough few weeks. Got some exams going on, but we're back into the swing of things come next week. And also press that post notification bell so you know when we upload here on the channel. Hope you have a great rest of your weekend, guys. Enjoy the weekend's football action, and I'll see you guys in the video very, very soon. Till next time, guys. See you later.